Well, basket's full. Great. God is so good, isn't He? I don't know whose that is, but we can leave it in the pew, and maybe whoever it belongs to can later pick it up, okay? Just leave it back in the pew. Wow. Look at these beautiful little girls. We need some little boys, too. So you guys get busy out there. Anyway, today I'm going to try to keep this brief and still give you a lesson that two children about the size of these young ladies learned very long ago. And hopefully we have all learned it by now. Do you know what obedience means? What does that mean?
You have to do is listen to your parents.
Amen. That's number one, really important, isn't it? And it's also important to obey God, isn't it? And when you obey your parents, you're obeying God, right? Well, there was a gentleman who had two small children, and from the earliest time in their life, he taught them the importance of obeying him and their mother. So one day, he decided to take his children on a picnic. And they drove way out in the country, and it was kind of an unfamiliar area to him, but it was a beautiful spot, and there was an open area where they could take their picnic and spread it out on the grass, and they could run and play and have a good time. Well, there was a hill also, and you know how children love to run down hills? I did when I was a little girl. Oh, I loved to run down hills so fast that finally I would fall and tumble. I don't like to do that anymore, but I did then. Anyway, these little ones began to run, and they were running really fast, and all of a sudden their father said, "Drop!" You know what the children did? And they were having a lot of fun. But you know what they did? They dropped in their tracks. You know what happened? Do you know why Daddy said drop? They were running toward a cliff. Nobody could see it because it was so sudden, and beyond that cliff was a range of mountains, and you couldn't see the cliff. All of a sudden, Dad realized something was terribly wrong, and he yelled, "Drop!" And they were within a few feet of the cliff. If they had kept running, what would have happened? They would have fallen over the cliff and probably been killed, wouldn't they? So they learned from a very early age how important obedience was. And that day, they understood why. So they remembered that for the rest of their lives. And of course, Dad also taught them the importance of obeying God. And so because of their learning to obey their parents, their lives were saved. And that's what we need to learn. You know, sometimes as adults, we're running toward a cliff, and God says, "Drop." And sometimes we don't, and we end up in big trouble. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever gotten into trouble? I mean, you've just been going on your merry way, and you're not paying any attention to what you're doing or anything, and you're just going to do what you want to do no matter what. And you don't listen to that small voice that says, "No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Don't do that. Don't do that." And you do it anyway, and then you realize you shouldn't have done it. Way too late, huh? So when we hear that little voice that says, don't do that, maybe we'd better listen. What do you think? Because sometimes God is speaking to our hearts, and we as adults need to do that also. Amen? Amen. So do you see how important it is to learn to obey? We save ourselves a lot of heartache if we learn to obey our parents and our God, right? So let's remember that today, okay? Okay, would you like to have prayer with us? With me? Let's stand up and have prayer. Okay? Very good. Cambria? Is this Cambria? Yeah. Yes. Would you like to pray? Okay.
Lord Jesus, thank you for this wonderful day. Nourish our bodies. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. You may go back to your seats now. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.